hot topic. Just over, well, actually a little under a week ago, I think it's a week ago tomorrow, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was released from prison after 8.5 years because of the association of her murder with her mom. Obviously, it's a local story that all of us know about, but it's also gained international kind of acclaim, if you will. What are your just kind of general thoughts, I guess, on the situation without getting too personal?
Well, okay, because I remember when the story broke. So I've been on air on 100.5 The Wolf for over 10 years now, and I remembered this story coming out and being like, how do I talk about this in my fun music show? Because at the time, she was still missing.
Yeah.
And then as it kind of unfolded, just being shocked, and I'm an avid true crime junkie. Like, I listen to the podcast, I watch the stuff. So I watched the first documentary about her, and it's just so weird now, because it's like, when it all happened, you're thinking she's this helpless victim, and now you're like, she's a full-fledged person.
Yeah.
And so all of these things that are being said about her and talking about her, it's like, she could watch this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just so weird, because she even in one of her recent interviews was like, yeah, I did something wrong, but I think the majority of people have empathy for her, and like, what she went through was horrible.
Yeah. It's really fascinating because I like how you said that she's like a human and she's an individual, because she is a 32-year-old adult. Like, she is not a child anymore. And also her mom's, you know, obviously not in the picture. So she is making these decisions on her own or with her team, however that's working. But what's interesting is she's done so much press, and obviously there's been so much coverage in the media of this anyway. So the first thing I want to point out is she was recently on a podcast, I believe the first podcast she's done since being released, which was the Vial Files. It's a 2-hour listen. You can find it on Spotify or Apple or whatever you listen to your podcast through. It is such a good listen.
Really?
I would recommend it. I'm not finished. I'm only about halfway through at this point, but she does not shy away from any question that is coming her way, which I can appreciate. And I also think that Nick Viall, the guy behind the podcast, and his fiance, they do a very good job of interviewing her, kind of touching on subjects that all of us are wanting to know without getting too much in the weeds of what's happened in the past, of course, you know, but still kind of getting the important stuff out, which I can appreciate. It's a really good listen. You'll learn a lot of really important things about her and where she's at today. There's also this brand new Lifetime docuseries that was just released on Friday. It was kind of released subsequently throughout the weekend. I have not watched this yet, but I've heard good things. I believe it's 6 episodes. I hear that you will learn similar things from the Lifetime show as you will the podcast. So if you've seen one, maybe you don't need to listen to the other, or vice versa. But I've heard it's really good, and I've heard that it's really well done. And then, of course, you touched on this, but HBO Max, or Max now, a few years ago, released a documentary called Mommy, Dead and Dearest that Gypsy was actually in while in prison. This is really, really good. There's a lot of solid interviews from family members and kind of people associated with her from kind of start of this whole thing to today.
Yeah, there's a lot of documentation of when she was still having to hold up this act of being sick, and it's just crazy to really see it so really and truly.
Yeah.
My biggest hope for her now is that she does have a good team, that she is surrounded by good people, that she's getting therapy. Like, you know what I mean? I just really hope that she is truly moving forward in a positive way, which so far it does seem like that's happening.
Yeah, for sure. And one last thing, you said The Act. Speaking of, there is a show on Hulu called The Act, which came out a few years ago. This is scripted. Check this out. It's a good, I think it's about 8 episodes, limited series, very well done, kind of drama vibes, if you will. I agree with you, though. I hope that she is continuing to find her peace, her freedom within all of this. She's obviously doing a lot of press, but I hope we see her kind of wane off of it, if you will.
Yes, but I also hope that it does help someone else. Someone else that is a victim of Munchausen by proxy, which people have mostly learned about through her case. So I do hope that, like, in some way, something positive can come
so
out
if you're interested in this case like we are, go check out all these different platforms that she's on. She's also all over social media, so go check those out as well. She actually seems like she has a really cool personality, just putting that out there. So
and she finally is getting to show it and be herself, which good for her.
Yeah, she's learning how to be a human in this world. So